You trust the cheese in your fridge, you have done for years. But what if the brands you have been buying are loaded with hidden salt, dangerous bacteria, and chemicals that could be silently raising your blood pressure and straining your kidneys? One brand on this list was linked to a toxin so deadly, the FSA pulled every single product off the shelves overnight. Number 1 will leave you speechless. Let me show you what they are hiding. Coming in at number 13, we have Tesco Everyday Value Processed Cheese Slices. Pick one up and bend it between your fingers. It does not snap. It does not crumble. It folds like a sheet of rubber. That smell when you peel back the plastic is not the warm, sharp tang of real cheese. It is flat, slightly chemical, almost sweet. That is because this is barely cheese at all. The ingredients list reads more like a chemistry textbook. Emulsifying salts, milk proteins, flavoring, colorings. For someone on blood pressure medication, these additives can interfere with how your body processes sodium. And the sodium content? Through the roof. A single slice packs enough salt to match a bag of crisps. The government recommends no more than 6 grams of salt a day. One of these thin, rubbery slices eats into that allowance before you have even finished making your sandwich. For anyone on ACE inhibitors or diuretics, that extra sodium can reduce how well your medication works. Your doctor adjusts your dose carefully, then a slice of budget cheese quietly undoes the effort. The label says, cheese. What you are really getting is a processed dairy product engineered to last on a shelf, not to nourish your body. You trusted the label. The label lied. At number 12, we are looking at Aldi Specially Selected Mature Cheddar. Aldi has built its entire reputation on being the smart shopper's choice. Good quality for less, that is the promise. But Action on Salt, the United Kingdom's leading independent salt monitoring group, found that Aldi was one of several supermarkets whose own brand cheeses exceeded the government's maximum salt reduction targets for hard-pressed cheese. That target was set back in 2020 to be met by the end of 2024. Aldi still missed it. If you have got high blood pressure or are on heart medication, that excess salt is not just a number on a label. It is an invisible strain on your arteries. It is pressure building in your kidneys every single day. It is your heart working harder than it should have to while you think you are making a sensible choice. The packaging looks premium. The gold lettering and dark background suggest quality. The nutrition facts tell a very different story. But this is nothing compared to what is coming further down this list. One brand was caught doing something so misleading, the United Kingdom's own advertising watchdog had to step in and ban their health claims outright. Keep watching. Now at number 11, it is Babybel. Those cute little red wax scissors. Wheels look harmless enough. Fun even. They feel like a treat. Something wholesome you would toss into a lunchbox without a second thought. But peel back the layers and the problems start. Each individual Babybel is wrapped in a plastic net, coated in non-biodegradable wax, and often packed inside yet another plastic bag. Most United Kingdom councils cannot recycle any of it. That is millions of tiny wax and plastic parcels heading straight to landfill every single year. And the cheese inside? Bland. Mass-produced, nutritionally unremarkable. For a portion that small, you are getting minimal calcium, minimal protein, and a disproportionate amount of saturated fat. A single Babybel contains more saturated fat per gram than a slice of medium cheddar. Babybel markets itself as a wholesome, natural snack. But there is nothing natural about wrapping a marble-sized lump of processed cheese in 3 layers of non-recyclable waste. If you're trying to look after your heart health, there are far better options, and we will get to those, but not yet. Number 10 on our list is cheese strings. Yes, it is marketed at children, but plenty of adults over 50 buy them too. They are easy to eat, easy to store. They look like a harmless little snack. But cheese strings are ultra-processed. That rubbery, peelable texture does not happen naturally. It takes industrial heating, stretching, and a cocktail of additives to make cheese behave that way. The sodium content per portion is significant. And if you are someone who watches their salt because of kidney issues or fluid retention, those stringy little sticks are working against you without you even knowing. The texture is the giveaway. Real cheese crumbles, breaks, flakes. This stretches like plastic. It has a waxy, artificial sheen under the light. It barely smells of anything at all. Which, the United Kingdom's leading consumer watchdog, found that cheese strings packaging was not recyclable through household collections, so you are paying a premium for a processed snack that is bad for your body and bad for the environment. Why is it that the foods marketed as fun and convenient always seem to be the ones cutting the most corners on quality? There are two brands that actually got it right. Lower sodium, real ingredients, no tricks, I will reveal them, but only after we finish the countdown. At number 9, we have Philadelphia cream cheese. It has been a staple in British fridges for decades. Spread it on toast, use it in cheesecake, dollop it on a jacket potato. It is one of those products that feels like it has always been there. But here is what most people overlook. Philadelphia contains significant levels of sodium, and because it is so easy to use generously, you often eat far more than the suggested 30-gram serving without even realizing. A thick spread on 2 slices of toast can easily double or triple that portion. On top of that, it contains stabilizers and thickening agents like xanthan gum, locust bean gum, and carob gum. These are not inherently dangerous in isolation, but when you are already consuming processed food throughout the day, it all adds up. For anyone managing their cholesterol or watching their saturated fat intake, Philadelphia is deceptively calorie-dense. The smooth, creamy texture makes you think it is light. It is not. 100 grams contains over 20 grams of fat. You feel like you are making a simple, wholesome choice. The truth is, that tub is quietly working against your dietary goals. But this is nothing compared to what is coming further down this list. One brand on here was linked to something so dangerous it can cause full body paralysis. Number 8 is a big one, Asda's 30%. Less fat, mature British cheese. Read that name again, less fat. Sounds healthy, does it not? That is exactly what they want you to think. But Action on Salt found that this specific product contained the highest salt content of any cheddar tested. A staggering 2 grams of salt per 100 grams. That means a single 30-gram portion the size of a small matchbox gives you more salt than a packet of ready salted crisps. And here is the betrayal. When they reduce the fat, they often increase the salt to compensate for the lost flavor. So you pick it up thinking you are doing the right thing for your heart, but you are flooding your body with sodium instead. For anyone on blood pressure tablets, water retention medication, or managing kidney function, this is not a healthier option. It is a trap dressed in green packaging. The block looks the same as any other cheddar. The branding is clean and reassuring. The words "less fat" sit right there in bold on the front. But the back of the packet tells the real story, and almost nobody turns it over to check. That is how they get away with it, year after year. If you want to stay ahead of hidden food dangers like these, hit that subscribe button now. It is free and it means you will never miss these exposes. Now, if you are wondering what you should actually be eating instead, do not worry. I have got 2 recommendations that passed every single test, but I am saving those for the very end of this video. Stay with me. Coming in at number 7, Lidl's Milboner processed cheese slices. Like Aldi, Lidl positions itself as the savvy budget option, and Milboner is their house dairy brand. But these processed slices share the same problem as every ultra-processed cheese product on this list. Emulsifiers, stabilizers, colorings, and sodium levels that exceed what any nutritionist would recommend for daily consumption. Peel one out of the plastic wrapper and really look at it. It is shiny, unnaturally smooth. It does not smell like cheese. It barely tastes like cheese. That is because it has been engineered to melt evenly, last for weeks, and cost as little as possible to produce. The person eating it and what it does to their body was never the priority. If you take blood thinners or manage your sodium carefully, these slices are a risk you do not need. And yet Lidl shelves them right at eye level, next to the bread and the butter, as if they belong in your daily routine. They do not. When you bite into one, the texture is almost sticky. It clings to the roof of your mouth. There is no sharpness, no depth, no aged character. Just a flat, salty film that dissolves into nothing. That is not cheese. That is a manufacturing shortcut. One of these brands might be sitting in your fridge right now. By the end, you will know exactly which ones to throw out and which ones to replace them with. At number 6, we have the Laughing Cow. That smiling red cow on the box has been a familiar face in British kitchens since the 1920s. Over a century of nostalgia packed into a tiny foil triangle. But do not be fooled by fond memories. The Laughing Cow is a processed cheese spread, not a natural cheese. It is made by melting together a blend of various cheeses, including cheddar, Gouda, Edam, and Emmental, with emulsifying salts and stabilizers. The result is a smooth, spreadable product that can sit unrefrigerated for extended periods. Ask yourself this: what kind of dairy product does not need a fridge? That alone should raise a serious question. The phosphates used as emulsifiers are a known concern for people with kidney disease. Your kidneys struggle to filter excess phosphorus, and over time, it can weaken your bones and damage your blood vessels. Elevated phosphorus levels have been linked to increased cardiovascular risk in patients with chronic kidney disease. The label says, cheese. Your kidneys would disagree. The triangles are soft to the touch, almost gummy. They leave a faintly metallic taste on your tongue if you pay attention. That is not flavor, that is chemistry. And for anyone taking calcium supplements or managing osteoporosis, excess phosphates can interfere with calcium absorption, quietly undermining the very thing you are trying to protect. Do you ever wonder why the same foods that last the longest on the shelf always seem to be the worst for your health? A study published in the British Medical Journal found that for every 10% increase in ultra-processed food consumption, the risk of cardiovascular disease rose by 12%. The laughing cow sits squarely in that category, and yet it keeps smiling at you from the shelf as if nothing is wrong. Think about that. Have you ever checked the back of a cheese label and been shocked at what you found? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear which brand surprised you the most. Number 5 is Pilgrim's Choice Lighter Extra Mature Cheddar. Another lighter option, another bait and switch. Action on Salt survey found this cheese came in at 0.57 grams of salt per 30-gram portion. That puts it among the saltiest cheddars on United Kingdom shelves, despite using the word lighter on the front of the pack. For context, the average is Britain already eats 8.4 grams of salt per day. That is 40% higher than the recommended maximum of 6 grams. Every light cheese portion that is secretly loaded with sodium pushes that number further up. And it is your blood vessels that pay the price, your heart that works harder, your medication that becomes less effective. The block itself looks no different from any other mature cheddar. Same pale yellow color, same crumbly texture when you slice it, but squeeze a sliver between your fingers and taste it slowly. The salt hits you. It lingers on the back of your tongue. That is not flavor complexity, that is sodium doing the heavy lifting. Pilgrim's Choice promises a smarter option. The salt content says otherwise. And if you are one of the 12 million adults in the United Kingdom living with high blood pressure, that misleading label is not just an annoyance. It is a genuine risk to your daily health management. And wait until you hear what number 3 did. That one had the United Kingdom's advertising authority step in and ban their own health claims. That is how misleading it was. At number 4, it is Cathedral City, Britain's favourite cheddar. Found in nearly every supermarket in the country, trusted by millions of households. It is the one most people reach for without thinking. But here is the truth most people never check. Cathedral City Mature. Grated cheddar has been recorded at 2 grams of salt per 100 grams. That exceeds the government's own salt reduction target for hard-pressed cheese. And because it is grated, you tend to use more of it. A generous handful on pasta, a thick layer on toast, a heavy sprinkle on a jacket potato. You are eating far more salt than you think. Cheese contributes 6% of the average British adult's daily salt intake, and cheddar alone accounts for 3%. Cathedral City is responsible for a significant portion of that number. The rolling green hills on the packaging suggest tradition, purity, countryside values. The nutritional reality is industrial-scale sodium. An estimated 1.89 million deaths globally each year are associated with excess salt consumption. And one of Britain's most trusted brands is quietly contributing to that number. The grated strands look innocent enough. Golden, fine, ready to use. But grab a pinch and taste it raw. The salt is unmistakable. It coats your mouth. That is not cheese flavor. That is a sodium delivery system disguised as a kitchen staple. For anyone who sprinkles Cathedral City on their meals every day, that invisible salt is adding up silently, week after week, month after month. And your body is keeping score even if you are not. The British Heart Foundation has repeatedly warned that hidden salt in everyday foods is one of the biggest preventable drivers of stroke and heart attack in the United Kingdom. Cathedral City is not the only offender, but it is the one that nearly everyone trusts without question, and that trust is exactly what makes it so dangerous. If you are thinking there has got to be a safer way to enjoy cheese without gambling with your health, you are right. I have the answer, but it is only coming at the very end of this video. Do not click away now. Coming in at number 3, Dairy. A household name since the 1950s, generations of British families have grown up with those foil-wrapped triangles and Dunkers dip pots. But let us talk about what Dairy actually is. It is not cheese in the traditional sense. It is a processed cheese product, blended, heated, emulsified, packed with stabilizers to give it that unnaturally smooth, spreadable texture. In the early 2000s, Dairy Lunchables were marketed as being full of good stuff. The United Kingdom's Advertising Standards Authority disagreed. They banned the claim after finding the products contained high levels of salt and saturated fat. Even after a reformulation that reduced salt by 9% and saturated fat by 34%, the full of good stuff slogan was still deemed misleading. Think about that. A product marketed to families, including older adults looking for a quick, easy snack, was caught making health claims it could not back up. The label said, good stuff. The regulators said, misleading. The triangles feel soft and slightly greasy between your fingers. They have that faintly artificial smell, somewhere between plastic and warm milk. If a brand will stretch the truth on the front of the box, what else are they not telling you? And this was not a small brand caught off guard. This was a Mondelez International product, one of the largest food corporations on the planet, with teams of lawyers and compliance officers. They knew exactly what they were doing. They calculated that the marketing benefit outweighed the risk of being caught. And they were right, because even after the ban, the product stayed on shelves. The name changed, the branding shifted, but the cert, product inside remained largely the same. Is it not strange how some of Britain's most iconic food brands keep getting caught stretching the truth, yet nothing really changes? Ever noticed how these brands keep getting caught and recalled but never actually change? Tell me which one you are done with in the comments. At number 2, Primula Cheese Spread. This one is not about salt or fat. This one is about something far more dangerous. In 2020, Primula was forced to recall every single cheese tube it produced. All 10 varieties, all batch codes, all sizes. The reason was Clostridium botulinum, found in one of their products. Clostridium botulinum produces one of the most lethal toxins known to science. It causes botulism, a life-threatening illness that attacks your nervous system. It causes muscle paralysis, breathing difficulties, and in serious cases, it is fatal. The Food Standards Agency issued an urgent warning. Tesco, Asda, Sainsbury's, Morrisons, and Iceland all pulled Primula from their shelves overnight. The company admitted the contamination was due to a production fault. And then, just 2 years later, Primula was recalled again. This time from Aldi stores in the Midlands because of temperature control failures that could cause the cheese to spoil and become unsafe. Imagine this. You squeeze what you think is a harmless cheese spread onto your toast in the morning. You cannot see the bacteria. You cannot smell it. You cannot taste it. But it is there. The tube feels normal in your hand. The cheese comes out smooth. It looks fine. That is what makes it so terrifying. For someone over 50 with a weaker immune system, the consequences of botulism can be devastating. Respiratory failure, weeks in intensive care, difficulty swallowing, muscle weakness that can last for months after the initial infection clears. Botulism is not a stomach bug you shake off in a day or two. It is a serious neurological assault on your body. 1 recall is alarming. 2 is a pattern. And for the millions of people who have squeezed Primula onto their crackers for years without a second thought, that pattern should be deeply unsettling. The Food Standards Agency's own data shows that product recalls in the United Kingdom have increased by over 30% in the past 5 years. And dairy products are among the most frequently recalled categories. When a company fails its customers once, you hope it was a one-off. When it happens twice, you have to ask whether the systems in place are built to protect consumers or to protect profits. But number 1 on this list shocked even us. It involves a brand that was linked to an E. coli outbreak so severe, it put 40 people in hospital. And 2 of them never came home. And at number 1, the most dangerous British cheese brand on this entire list, Mrs. Kirkham's Lancashire cheese. This was not a labelling issue. This was not about excess salt. This was a full-blown E. coli outbreak that left 40 people seriously ill across the United Kingdom. 2 of them died. The United Kingdom Health Security Agency confirmed the strain as E. coli 0145, a particularly aggressive type of sugar toxin-producing E. coli. The Food Standards Agency issued a recall in December 2023 covering all 4 varieties: mild and creamy Lancashire, tasty Lancashire, mature Lancashire, smoked Lancashire, every batch, every use by date going back to October 2023. 18 of the confirmed cases reported eating the cheese while travelling first class on trains operated by the same company. They were served a meal that included Mrs. Kirkham's unpasteurised cheese. They thought they were enjoying a premium experience. Instead, they were swallowing a pathogen that attacked their intestines, their blood, and their kidneys. E. coli 0145 can cause hemolytic uremic syndrome, a condition where the toxin destroys red blood cells and leads to acute kidney failure. For anyone over 50, especially those already managing kidney disease or on blood-thinning medication, this is not just food poisoning, it is a medical emergency. And here is the part that should concern everyone. When patients were first interviewed, only 2 out of 29 mentioned eating unpasteurized cheese. It took months of investigation for the epidemiological link to emerge. Most people had no idea the cheese was the cause. They went to their doctors, they described their symptoms, they ran through what they had eaten, and the cheese did not even register. That is how invisible the danger was. Mrs. Kirkham's resumed sales of their raw milk cheeses in February 2024. The product went back on shelves. The brand carried on. 40 people got sick. 2 died. And business continued as though nothing had happened. Do you think these recalls are really just accidents? Or are they the ones that actually got caught? According to the Food Standards Agency, unpasteurized cheeses carry a significantly higher risk of harboring harmful bacteria, including E. coli, Listeria, and Salmonella. And yet they continue to be sold without any prominent warning labels. For anyone over 50, for anyone on immunosuppressive medication, for anyone with a compromised system, the risk is not theoretical. It is sitting right there on the cheese counter, wrapped in wax paper, priced at a premium, and sold as artisan quality. What is the worst thing you have ever found in a food product? Drop it below. Let us see how deep this goes. Remember when I said there were brands that actually passed every test? Here they are. Earlier, I promised you the solution. This is it. The first safe option is Morrison's own brand cheddar. Action on Salt's research found that Morrison's produces cheddar cheese that is approximately 8% lower in sodium compared to most other major supermarket and branded competitors. It is a straightforward, honest product. Real cheese, lower salt. No misleading claims on the front of the packet. For anyone managing blood pressure or watching their sodium, this is the kind of small change that adds up over time. No gimmicks, no lighter tricks, just genuinely less salt. You will find it in the chilled aisle in plain, simple packaging. And when you check the back, the numbers actually match the promise. That's rarer than you think. The second recommendation is Wensleydale. Of every hard cheese tested in nationwide surveys, Wensleydale consistently came in with the lowest average salt content, just 1.10 grams per 100 grams. Compare that to the nearly 2 grams found in some of the brands above, and the difference is significant. It is a traditional British territorial cheese. Crumbly, mild, naturally lower in sodium without any reformulation or processing tricks. It pairs beautifully with fruit, with chutney, with a slice of apple pie, and it delivers genuine flavour without relying on salt to do the heavy lifting. If you want a cheese that works with your body instead of against it, Wensleydale is the one to reach for. Most people never learn how to protect themselves from hidden salt in everyday foods, but now you know. I told you one simple change could protect you. Here is what it is. Read the back of the packet, not the front. Check the salt per 100 grams and choose brands that do not need marketing gimmicks to hide what is really inside. That one habit will do more for your blood pressure than most people realize. If this video opened your eyes, hit subscribe right now. Subscribe now, and if you're watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.